Today we're doing some trash to treasure rustic DIY ideas using cans and using glass pieces. My inspiration picture here is this from Target. I'm going to be painting that, and then with the glass jars I'm going to be doing a storage container and a candle. So let's go ahead and get the labels off of these cans. So I'm not sure how much copper I have in the container of paint I already have. So I'm going to start with the larger one because I really want the larger one. And if I have enough paint, I'll do the smaller one too. So I'm going to paint a base in the Waverly Color Elephant first because I'm really hoping to paint it gray and then kind of just brush the copper over it. And we'll see if that actually works. Now I'm taking the metallic copper that I have on hand and I'm using a fan brush to go ahead and brush it over top of the elephant. Alright, so in some of these spots I'm just going a little bit lighter to give the appearance of some worn parts there. Briefly, today's video is part of an open challenge hosted by Julia from Crafting with Julia. We are taking things that we'd normally throw out and we are making them into home decor. Please check out the playlist linked below. I'm taking a flat brush here and I'm just going to do around the edges on the top and the bottom. And here I've decided that I want to fill that in just a little bit more and not show so much of the gray there. So after I painted this, I felt like it was just a little too shiny. I mean, I know it's copper and it's supposed to be, but I wanted it to have a little bit more of a dull look. So I'm going to go ahead and do an experiment here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the copper and I'm going to mix it with the burnt umber because last year I did a project and I did the same thing. I kind of made it look like more of a rusty piece. And I really liked the way it turned out. Now, I'm not going to use as much burnt umber on this as I did last time because I don't want it to be mostly burnt umber, but I am going to mix it together because I kind of want to give the copper just a little bit more of a dull look to it rather than such a shiny look. Again, I'm trying to really match that picture that I showed you of the Target. I believe that's pieces from Target that I found that I was showing you at the beginning there. So I'm really trying to match that. And then I'll show you in a little bit with my phone how I'm matching it up. But I'm just going to go ahead and redo all of that. It's hard to see on camera, but it is a little bit duller. It is toning it down just a little bit. Okay, so I've decided that I need to go on top with the darker colors to make it look aged. So to the elephant, I am adding a little bit of the burnt umber, and I'm going to mix that up because I felt like the elephant was just a little too gray. So we are going to mix that in with a little bit of the brown. I've got my picture out here for comparison. And then I'm just kind of varying what I'm doing here. I'm doing a little bit and then I'm doing it heavier in other spots. Also, my piece has ridges and the piece in the picture doesn't. So I'm looking at this picture here and let's get it. I started with the elephant and I started with the lighter color simply because I didn't want to go too dark too soon if it wasn't working right. So I actually do think I'm going to go in spots with the burnt umber, just the burnt umber itself, and see what that does. Okay, I am starting with the plain burnt umber, and I am using a smaller brush this time, trying it a little bit different. Keep experimenting and doing different things with this. So I'm going to try to just follow the lines of the gray that I've already done. I have a wet paper towel and I have a dry paper towel. So we're going to see how this goes. And I'm going to start with the dry and see how that, I think I'm liking that actually. Let's see, we do the wet here a little bit. I think the wet is taking maybe too much of it off. I don't know, actually I'm kind of, yeah, I think the wet's taking too much of it off. All right, let's do it with the dry. There, oh, that is actually what I'm looking for. So I don't know if maybe, I think it actually does look good with the combination with the elephant. So maybe you need a combination of both. I think that's a little bit closer to what we're going for here, I think. All right, I'm just gonna work on this for a bit. I know this seems like a painstaking process and maybe you're bored with this part of it, but there are a few more ideas in this video, so just hold on. But I really did want to make sure that I videoed how I did this painting. So in the parts that are a little too blotchy and they actually do look like paint, I am taking the wet paper towel and I am kind of smoothing it out. But mostly I'm using the dry paper towel to wipe away. So I do believe it is getting closer to how it looks in the picture, doing it this way. Okay, so I'm finding it best to use this small brush and go in like long strokes, like that. Long strokes, kind of fade it at the ends. And then I use the dry to wipe it. And then if I need to, if I feel like it's not blended right, I use the wet to follow it up a little bit. All right, we're moving on to my pesto jars now. I really like the size of these jars and I thought they would make a good candle and good storage. So now I'm just measuring the surface of the piece because I'm going to use my Cricut to cut out a design for this. And so I've got 2 going the width and 2.5 in the vertical. So I'm going to go into my design space and I picked out a couple of things that I'm going to use. I picked out a snowflake, and so I'm just putting those dimensions in there, and I wanted to just show you that they have these templates in there, and you can take the templates and you can customize them to what size you need, and then that will help you to size the piece that you're going to cut out of the vinyl so that you can cut it appropriately and it will fit the piece that you want to put it on. So the templates do not print, they're just there to help guide you. So I'm just trying to play with some fonts here and figure out which one I want. I'm going to make one a storage jar, and then I'm going to make the other one a candle. So I want to use the word beads, and I'm going ahead and I'm figuring out what font I want. And now I'm going into Design Space and I'm looking up snowflakes. I just put in snowflakes and I'm looking. The ones with the little A are the ones that you can get through Cricut Access. I picked the one that I want, that I think will work the best, and I'm just gonna put it inside that little template there and make sure that I have it sized appropriately. Okay, so after I do that, I'm just decided I didn't really like those fonts, so I went ahead and I looked through finding another font, and I'm going to come up with a different one here that I think I like better, that I'm going to go ahead and use. Alright, so I soaked those labels in soapy water. You want to make sure that you clean it up. I did end up having to use Goo Gone also. I can still see a little residue here. And then I cleaned it up with a little bit of alcohol, and we're going to get ready and put our vinyl on. Alright, so I'm using removable white vinyl today in case I wanted to put a different design eventually on the candle that I'm making. And now I'm just doing weeding it out and then using transfer tape to add it on. That's my storage container I made to put my beads in there. And then here is the finished products, both of those items. I have them styled together here on my table, and I think it makes a nice wintry kind of rustic style theme. And I like the way the candle goes through the glass there. I have a floating candle in there. I prefer to use those. Here is a close-up of the paint job that I did. Anyways, I like the way both of these turned out. I think it makes a nice winter scene here, and we used things that we were going to just throw away. So I have two more things I'm going to show you real quick here. They're not going to be very long at all, just a couple more ideas. Another thing that I did earlier last year, I took a Vlasic sauerkraut jar and I painted the bottom of it, used painter tape, and then I spray painted the copper there and put some jute on top, and I made a nice candle holder for that. I used that one in the fall. Another thing that I did was I took the cans and I took 4 of them, the same size, and I painted them with chalk paint. I found a printable online that I liked, and I made this kind of French country looking theme here. I put jute twine around the top and the bottom, added some white flowers, black rack there, and voila, you have a nice decor piece that you just used cans you were going to get rid of. Please make sure you check out Julia's channel and the playlist linked below for all of the other ideas that you might be interested in seeing. Thanks so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.